Implementation of Artemis program technologies by 2026. Overview in phases. Introduction. The Artemis program, initiated by NASA in 2017, represents a monumental effort to return humans to the Moon by 2026, with long-term aspirations of establishing a sustainable human presence there, ultimately paving the way for future manned missions to Mars. This ambitious project involves a significant investment of approximately $30 billion and is structured into 4 distinct phases, each building towards the deployment of 5 critical systems, including the Space Launch System (SLS) and the Orion spacecraft. Program Overview. The Artemis program is designed to facilitate a series of missions to the Moon utilizing the Space Launch System (SLS) and Orion spacecraft. It aims not just for a return to the Moon but for sustainable exploration and utilization of lunar resources. The program encompasses several key components, each critical to its success. 1. Orion spacecraft. This crewed spacecraft is designed for deep space missions and can transport 4 astronauts to lunar orbit and back. 2. Space Launch System (SLS), a super heavy-lift rocket capable of carrying payloads of up to 130 metric tons, essential for launching crewed missions and various payloads needed for lunar exploration. 3. Human Landing System (HLS), developed in partnership with companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin. These systems will transport astronauts from lunar orbit to the Moon's surface. 4. Lunar Gateway, a planned space station in lunar orbit that will support crew and cargo transport, facilitate scientific research, and serve as a staging point for lunar landings. Timeline of events. The Artemis program is carefully staged over several years. 2017, the Artemis program is established with a focus on returning humans to the Moon. November 16, 2022, successful launch of Artemis I, marking the first uncrewed test flight of the SLS and Orion spacecraft. April 2026, Artemis II is scheduled to be the first crewed test flight conducting a lunar flyby. Mid-2027, Artemis III aims for the first crewed lunar landing since Apollo 17. 2028 to 2030, subsequent missions Artemis IV and V will establish the Lunar Gateway and commence regular lunar landings. Investment and cost projections. The estimated cost of the Artemis program varies widely among sources, with projections ranging from $53 billion to over $93 billion through 2025. This discrepancy is largely attributed to the accounting methods used, the scope of the project, and potential delays and technical challenges that have arisen. Implementation phases. The implementation of the Artemis program is structured into 4 phases, each designed to build upon the successes of the previous stages. 1. Phase 1 Artemis I, focused on uncrewed testing. Artemis I successfully demonstrated the capabilities of the SLS and Orion spacecraft. This phase set the stage for future crewed flights and highlighted the importance of rigorous testing. 2. Phase 2 Artemis II, scheduled for April 2026. This phase will involve a crewed lunar flyby to test Orion's systems with astronauts aboard. This mission will provide critical data for future lunar landings. 3. Phase 3 Artemis III, targeting a mid-2027 lunar landing. Artemis III will mark the first time humans set foot on the Moon since 1972. This mission will utilize the Human Landing System to transport astronauts to the lunar surface. For Phase 4 Artemis IV and onwards, the focus will shift to establishing the Lunar Gateway and facilitating regular lunar landings and operations. This will include the development of lunar habitats and the potential for extended stays on the Moon. Key collaborations and international partnerships. A hallmark of the Artemis program is its emphasis on collaboration with international and commercial partners. The Artemis Accords, a framework for international cooperation, outlines shared principles for exploring the Moon and beyond. Collaborators include space agencies from countries such as Canada, Japan, and members of the European Space Agency, along with commercial partnerships with companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin. Common themes and challenges. Sustainable lunar exploration. A consistent theme across all discussions of the Artemis program is its goal of establishing sustainable lunar exploration. This involves not only returning humans to the moon but also developing the technologies and infrastructures necessary for long-term habitation and resource utilization. Funding and budgetary constraints, potential delays and financial challenges have been highlighted as significant hurdles. The program's ambitious timeline has already seen adjustments, and concerns over funding continuity remain a frequent topic among stakeholders. Technological development and testing. The Artemis program's reliance on new technologies such as the Human Landing System and the Lunar Gateway underscores the importance of rigorous testing and validation. Each phase builds on the previous successes, with a strong emphasis on ensuring mission readiness. Conclusion. The Artemis program represents a pivotal chapter in human space exploration, with its multifaceted approach addressing technological, logistical, and collaborative challenges. As it progresses towards its ambitious goals, the timeline and projected costs reflect the complexity of returning humans to the moon and preparing for future exploration of Mars. The success of the Artemis missions will not only rekindle human presence on the lunar surface but also inspire future generations to explore the cosmos. The Artemis program has generated a significant amount of discussion and analysis, especially regarding its ambitious goals and the substantial investments required. Here are some counterintuitive insights that can be drawn from the information provided. 1. Cost projections and budgeting discrepancies. While the Artemis program's budget is projected to be around $30 billion, estimates have varied widely, ranging from $53 billion to over $93 billion through 2025. This discrepancy raises questions about the reliability of budget forecasting in large-scale government projects. The need for multiple cost assessments suggests that initial estimates may routinely underrepresent the true financial burden of such ambitious programs. 2. Technological development timelines. The timeline for the Artemis missions is optimistic, with scheduled crewed missions planned for 2026 and 2027. However, the NASA Inspector General has indicated that these timelines are likely unrealistic due to technical challenges and funding issues. This highlights a counterintuitive situation where the ambitious goals of space exploration may lead to overly optimistic scheduling, which can then result in disillusionment if delays occur. 3. Commercial partnerships and competition. The Artemis program relies heavily on commercial partnerships, particularly with companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin for the Human Landing System (HLS). However, the competition among these companies has led to lawsuits and protests, particularly from Blue Origin regarding contract awards. This situation illustrates a counterintuitive aspect of collaboration in space exploration, where partnerships can become contentious and hinder progress rather than facilitate it. 4. The role of the Lunar Gateway. The Lunar Gateway is intended to serve as a staging ground for missions to the moon and beyond. However, critics, including prominent figures like Robert Zubrin and Buzz Aldrin, have questioned the necessity of the Gateway, arguing that it complicates lunar missions. They advocate for a more direct approach to lunar landings, suggesting that the Gateway could be a hindrance rather than a help in achieving lunar and Martian goals. 5. Recurring delays. The Artemis program has experienced numerous delays, with the first crewed mission now pushed back to 2026. This reflects a broader reality in government-funded projects, where initial timelines often do not account for the complexities and challenges of advanced technological development. The expectation of rapid progress can lead to complacency in project management and oversight. 6. Environmental considerations. The Artemis program includes plans for lunar exploration that emphasize the need for sustainability and environmental stewardship. However, the sheer scale of the proposed missions and their reliance on heavy-lift rockets and multiple launches for refueling may lead to significant environmental impacts, which is often overlooked in the excitement of space exploration. 7. International collaboration. The Artemis Accords are designed to foster international collaboration for lunar exploration. However, the complexities of international agreements and the varying priorities of different countries can complicate these collaborations. The expectation that such accords will smoothly facilitate cooperation may not align with the reality of geopolitical tensions and differing national interests in space exploration. 8. Public perception and funding. There is a dichotomy between public enthusiasm for space exploration and the practical funding challenges that NASA faces. While there is significant public interest in returning to the Moon and exploring Mars, this enthusiasm does not always translate into political or financial support for the necessary funding, leading to a disconnect between public sentiment and government action. 9. Technological dependencies. The Artemis program is heavily reliant on new technologies like the Space Launch System (SLS) and the Orion spacecraft. The development of these technologies has encountered delays and challenges, which could jeopardize mission timelines. This reliance on unproven technologies for ambitious exploration goals presents a counterintuitive risk where the very innovations intended to enable exploration may become obstacles. 10. Long-term vision versus immediate goals. The Artemis program aims not just to return humans to the Moon but to establish a sustainable presence there as a stepping stone to Mars. However, the focus on long-term goals can sometimes overshadow immediate operational challenges, potentially leading to a misalignment of resources and priorities that could impact the success of the initial missions. In summary, while the Artemis program embodies humanity's aspirations for lunar and Martian exploration, it also illustrates a series of counterintuitive realities. From budget forecasting and technological dependencies to the complexities of international collaboration and the dichotomy between public enthusiasm and political action. These factors will play a crucial role in shaping the program's future trajectory and its ultimate success. The Artemis program is a pivotal initiative by NASA aimed at returning humans to the Moon by 2026, ultimately establishing a sustainable human presence that will serve as a precursor for future missions to Mars. While the program's objectives and components have been widely reported, several critical aspects are often overlooked or not fully appreciated, even though they carry significant implications for the future of space exploration. 1. Importance of public-private partnerships. Key content. The Artemis program significantly relies on partnerships with commercial space companies such as SpaceX, Blue Origin, and other contractors involved in developing the Human Landing System (HLS) and Lunar Gateway elements. Significance. These collaborations highlight a paradigm shift in space exploration, moving away from a purely government-led approach towards a more integrated public-private partnership model. This is significant not just for the Artemis program but for the entire landscape of space exploration. It allows for innovation, cost reductions, and rapid development cycles that would be difficult to achieve solely through government contracts. Moreover, it sets a precedent for future space exploration initiatives, encouraging other countries and private entities to engage in similar partnerships. 2. The role of the Lunar Gateway. Key content. The Lunar Gateway is a planned space station that will orbit the Moon and serve multiple purposes, including acting as a staging point for lunar landings and facilitating scientific research. Significance. While many focus on the immediate goal of lunar landings, the Gateway is crucial for long-term sustainability in lunar exploration. It enables continuous human presence on the Moon, supports scientific experiments, and acts as a platform for developing technologies needed for Mars missions. The Gateway's role as a hub for international collaboration is also vital, as it brings together various space agencies, enhancing diplomatic relations and fostering shared scientific goals. 3. The Artemis Accords. Key content. The Artemis Accords are a set of international agreements that outline principles for sustainable exploration of the Moon and beyond, emphasizing transparency, interoperability, and peaceful exploration. Significance. These accords are often overshadowed by technical discussions but represent a landmark in international space law. They aim to establish norms and guidelines for future exploration, ensuring that activities in space are conducted responsibly and collaboratively. This is particularly significant as space becomes more congested with various national and commercial interests. The Accords could serve as a framework for resolving disputes and managing resources in space, potentially preventing conflicts over lunar and Martian resources. 4. Technological innovations. Key content. The Artemis program is not only a return to the moon but also a testing ground for new technologies including advanced life support systems, lunar habitat designs, and autonomous robotic systems. Significance. The technological advancements developed through the Artemis program have implications beyond lunar exploration. Innovations in areas such as in situ resource utilization (ISRU) could facilitate future Mars missions by enabling the use of local resources for life support and fuel. Moreover, technologies developed for the program could inspire new applications on Earth, particularly in fields like robotics, materials science, and sustainability practices. 5. Cost projections and budgetary challenges. Key content. The estimated cost of the Artemis program varies significantly, with some projections reaching upwards of $93 billion through 2025. Significance. The financial implications of the Artemis program are a significant concern, often minimized in discussions about its goals and achievements. Budget overruns and funding uncertainties could threaten the program's sustainability and timeline. This highlights the need for transparent financial planning and management in large-scale projects. Furthermore, understanding the budgetary challenges can foster discussions about prioritizing space exploration within national budgets and advocating for consistent funding across political administrations. 6. The human element, diversity in astronaut selection. Key content. The Artemis program emphasizes diversity in its astronaut selection planning for the first woman and the first person of color to land on the moon. Significance. This focus on diversity is a crucial aspect of the Artemis program, as it reflects broader societal goals of inclusion and representation in STEM fields. By showcasing a diverse group of astronauts, NASA aims to inspire future generations from various backgrounds to pursue careers in science and engineering. This is significant for fostering a more inclusive space community and addressing historical disparities in representation within the field. 7. Long-term vision for Mars and beyond. Key content. The Artemis program is designed not merely as a series of lunar missions but as a stepping stone toward human exploration of Mars. Significance. The long-term vision of the Artemis program is often overlooked in favor of immediate lunar goals. However, the program's infrastructure, such as the Lunar Gateway and HLS, is integral to developing the capabilities needed for Mars missions. The experience gained from lunar landings will inform design decisions for Mars habitats and life support systems. This vision underscores the importance of sustained investment in space exploration as each mission builds upon the last, paving the way for humanity's expansion into the solar system. 8. The Artemis Base Camp concept. Key content. The Artemis Base Camp will serve as a lunar outpost, allowing for extended missions and the development of technologies for future Mars expeditions. Significance. The Base Camp concept is often seen as a logistical component of the Artemis program, but it represents a crucial step in establishing a permanent human presence on the Moon. This facility will allow for longer duration missions, supporting scientific research and technology testing in a lunar environment. The lessons learned from maintaining a base on the Moon will be invaluable in preparing for the challenges of living and working on Mars, including habitat construction, resource management, and life support sustainability. Conclusion. The Artemis program is more than a series of missions aimed at returning humans to the Moon. It is a multifaceted initiative that encompasses international cooperation, technological innovation, and a long-term vision for human exploration of Mars. While many aspects of the program are highlighted in discussions, the significance of public-private partnerships, the role of the Lunar Gateway, the Artemis Accords, and the focus on diversity and budgetary challenges are critical elements that deserve more attention. Understanding these nuances not only enriches the narrative of the Artemis program but also emphasizes its potential to shape the future of space exploration and international collaboration. The Artemis program represents NASA's ambitious plan to return humans to the Moon by 2026, with a long-term goal of establishing a sustainable lunar presence to facilitate future missions to Mars. This initiative is structured around a $30 billion investment and involves the development and deployment of 5 key systems, including the Space Launch System (SLS) and the Orion spacecraft. Here are 4 valuable points for in-depth analysis and discussion. 1. Technological innovations and development of key systems. The Artemis program involves the development of several advanced technologies and systems critical for deep space exploration. 2 of the most significant components are the Space Launch System (SLS) and the Orion spacecraft. Space Launch System (SLS). As a super heavy-lift rocket, the SLS is designed to carry substantial payloads up to 130 metric tons in its Block 2 configuration beyond low Earth orbit. Its development reflects the need for a robust vehicle capable of supporting complex crewed missions. Orion spacecraft, designed for deep space missions. Orion will transport astronauts to lunar orbit and back. With a crew capacity of 4, its development focuses on ensuring astronauts' safety and mission success in the harsh environment of space. In addition to these, the program includes the Human Landing System (HLS), Lunar Gateway, and various supporting technologies such as lunar rovers and habitats. The development of these systems will not only facilitate lunar exploration but also lay the groundwork for future Mars missions, showcasing NASA's commitment to innovation and long-term exploration strategies. 2. International and commercial collaboration. The Artemis program emphasizes collaboration with international and commercial partners, which is vital for its success. International partnerships. The program operates under the framework of the Artemis Accords, which facilitate cooperation among participating nations. Agencies such as the European Space Agency (ESA), Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency (JAXA), and others are contributing to various aspects of the mission, including the Lunar Gateway. This collaborative approach enhances resource sharing, technological exchange, and collective expertise. Commercial partnerships. NASA's partnership with private industry is integral to the Artemis program's implementation. Companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are developing the Human Landing System, while various commercial launch vehicles, e.g. Falcon Heavy, Starship, will support mission logistics. This collaboration demonstrates a shift towards a more inclusive space exploration framework, leveraging private sector capabilities to achieve public goals. The integration of these partnerships has the potential to reduce costs, accelerate timelines, and foster innovation through competition and collaboration in the space sector. 3. Sustainability and long-term goals. The Artemis program's long-term vision extends beyond lunar landings. One of its primary objectives is to establish a sustainable human presence on the Moon, serving as a precursor for future missions to Mars. Sustainable lunar exploration. The design of the Artemis base camp aims to support extended missions on the lunar surface, with infrastructure that allows for long-term habitation. This includes the development of habitats, rovers, and life support systems that will enable astronauts to live and work on the Moon for extended periods. Preparation for Mars missions. The knowledge and experience gained from the Artemis missions will contribute to NASA's Mars exploration plans. The technologies developed for lunar missions, such as in situ resource utilization (ISRU) and life support systems, are critical for the sustainability of human life on Mars. The program serves as a testing ground for technologies and processes that will be adapted for the more distant goal of sending humans to Mars. 4. Challenges and criticisms. Despite its ambitious goals, the Artemis program faces several challenges and criticisms that can hinder its progress. Technical and financial challenges. The complexity of developing multiple systems and the potential for delays in the timeline pose significant challenges. Reports from the NASA Inspector General suggest that projected costs could escalate beyond initial estimates, raising concerns about budget management and resource allocation. Criticism of program structure. Some space professionals have criticized the program for its reliance on the Lunar Gateway and the number of launches required for each crewed mission. Critics argue that this approach could complicate operations and increase logistical challenges. Alternative proposals such as the Moon Direct concept suggest more direct lunar landing strategies without intermediate stops at the gateway. Realistic timelines. The ambitious schedule of returning humans to the Moon by 2026 has been questioned, especially in light of previous delays and the complexities involved in developing new technologies. Ensuring the safety and readiness of missions while adhering to tight timelines remains a significant concern. These challenges highlight the need for robust project management, realistic planning, and continuous assessment of risks as the program progresses. Conclusion. The Artemis program is a monumental endeavor that combines advanced technology, international collaboration, and sustainable exploration goals. It aims not only to return humans to the Moon but also to establish a framework for future exploration of Mars and beyond. However, addressing the inherent challenges and criticisms is essential to ensure the program's success and longevity in the quest for human space exploration. 1. Apollo Program 1961–1972. The Apollo program was NASA's ambitious initiative aimed at landing humans on the Moon and bringing them back safely to Earth. Initiated in the early 1960s, Apollo achieved its goal with Apollo 11 in 1969, marking a significant milestone in human space exploration. The program included a series of missions, Apollo 1 through Apollo 17, with Apollo 13 famously encountering a life-threatening in-flight emergency but ultimately returning its crew safely. The Apollo program's legacy includes advancements in technology, space science, and international collaboration in space endeavors. 2. Space Shuttle Program 1981–2011. NASA's Space Shuttle program was a groundbreaking project that facilitated reusable spacecraft for multiple missions over 3 decades. The program allowed for the construction of the International Space Station (ISS) satellite deployment and scientific research in low Earth orbit. Notable missions include the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope and various ISS assembly flights. While the program faced challenges including the tragic losses of Challenger and Columbia, it fundamentally changed human space travel and paved the way for future exploration initiatives like Artemis. 3. Mars Exploration Program 2000–present. NASA's Mars Exploration Program encompasses a series of robotic missions aimed at exploring the Martian surface and atmosphere. Key missions include the Mars rovers Spirit and Opportunity, the Curiosity rover, and the Perseverance rover, which landed in 2021. These missions have significantly advanced our understanding of Mars, including the search for past life, climate, and geology. The program aims to lay the groundwork for potential human exploration of Mars, similar to how Artemis seeks to establish a sustainable human presence on the Moon. The Artemis program, initiated by NASA, is a pivotal step in human space exploration, aiming to return humans to the Moon by 2026 and establish a sustained presence there. This ambitious undertaking involves a projected $30 billion investment spread across 4 key phases, each focusing on the development and deployment of critical technologies and systems, including the Space Launch System (SLS) and the Orion spacecraft. Future outlook and predictions. 1. Phased implementation and mission schedule. Artemis II, scheduled for April 2026. This mission will be the first crewed flight of the Orion spacecraft, performing a lunar flyby. This will serve as a critical test for the systems that will be used in subsequent missions. Artemis III, targeted for mid-2027. This mission will achieve the first crewed lunar landing since 1972. It aims to place astronauts at the lunar South Pole, a region rich in resources. The mission will involve complex operations, including docking with the Human Landing System (HLS) developed by SpaceX. Artemis IV and V, expected in 2028 and 2030 respectively. These missions will further develop the Lunar Gateway and support additional lunar landings. They will incorporate advanced technologies and international collaboration, showcasing a global effort in space exploration. 2. Technological advancements. The Artemis program will drive significant advancements in space technologies, particularly in reusable launch systems and spacecraft design. The SLS and Orion are designed to be robust platforms for deep space exploration. Innovations like the Lunar Gateway will provide critical infrastructure for sustained lunar operations, enabling scientific research and acting as a staging point for future Mars missions. 3. International collaboration and commercial partnerships. The program emphasizes collaboration with international partners and commercial entities. The Artemis Accords, which establish guidelines for cooperation in space, will facilitate joint missions and resource sharing. Partnerships with companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are expected to enhance the capabilities and reduce costs through competition and innovation. 4. Sustainability and long-term goals. NASA aims to establish a sustainable human presence on the Moon by the end of the decade, which will serve as a foundation for future Mars missions. This includes developing habitats, rovers, and life support systems that can operate on the lunar surface for extended periods. The Artemis base camp will be a significant step in this direction, designed to support missions lasting up to 2 months, allowing for extensive research and technological testing. 5. Challenges and adaptations. Despite the ambitious timeline, the program faces challenges, including potential delays in technology development and funding constraints. The NASA Inspector General has highlighted the risks of unrealistic timelines, which may necessitate adaptive planning. As the program evolves, NASA may need to adjust mission schedules and objectives to accommodate technological advancements and ensure safety and success. 6. Preparations for Mars exploration. The Artemis program is not just about lunar exploration, it is a stepping stone for human missions to Mars. By developing the necessary technologies and operational frameworks on the Moon, NASA aims to apply these learnings to future interplanetary missions. The program will focus on in situ resource utilization (ISRU) on the Moon, which will be critical for long-duration missions to Mars, where astronauts will need to rely on local resources for sustenance and fuel. Conclusion. The Artemis program represents a transformative period in space exploration with ambitious goals for lunar and Martian exploration. With a structured approach involving phased missions, technological innovation, international cooperation, and a focus on sustainability, NASA is poised to make significant strides in human spaceflight. The next several years will be crucial as the program unfolds, paving the way for humanity's return to the Moon and eventual journeys to Mars.